Welcome to the Money Watch Show. It's Sunday, July 6th. You have had a fabulous Independence Day weekend. We are closing it out with this beautiful broadcast, after which you will get back to your reality. And it is sad to get back to reality, my friends, but it happens, and some people must do it. I think that there are also a lot of people who don't like to live in reality, so they exist in their own worlds, and that's lucky for them. Mark Talercio, my co-host, is not among those folks. He is, how shall we say, a realist. I would say that that's true, Mark. You are if nothing but a absolute straight-talking, realistic human being. And welcome to our show.
I try my best.
Yeah. For the 4th of July weekend, which we are taping in advance, what will you be doing Independence Day weekend?
We're taking a drive upstate. My parents, they live, for everyone listening, they live about 4 hours away from us. So Theo doesn't get to see them often, probably maybe once a year, twice at most. So this will probably be the one and only time this year he sees them.
You can't help it but ride in that car for many hours. You're insane. You really are. Anyway, remember everybody, we're trying to get Mark a nice beach vacation close to New York City. And yet he's doing, this is a nice thing to do. I think that's good for you to do that. Meanwhile, here in the reality-based world, what Mark and I love to do on this program is we love to talk to people who need some guidance, maybe some mentoring, and people who really just feel like maybe another set of ears and eyes on a situation. And what we try to do on this show versus our Jill on Money show, which is Monday through Friday, this is a show where we go a little bit deeper and try to, when I say we take the mystery out of your financial life, we really want to break it down on this show. This is the show that is sort of like the junior varsity almost. Like, we want to remind you that, like, you may not remember all these things that I maybe talk about on the other show. And we go a little bit deeper and give you a better understanding of that. So this is a no judgment zone. So is the other show, but we want anybody who is seeking some financial clarity to give us a holler. So if that's you, just go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and write us a note. And if you'd like to join us live, then all you need to do is check the box, and Mark will do everything else. On the website, you will see all sorts of things. We've got a free weekly newsletter, which is a subscription to Substack, which is fantastic. Mark's like, I think we should do this. And I usually say to him, okay, fine. And he comes up with these great ideas all the time. So Mark is an amazing partner in all of this. And he put us on Substack. So thank you for that, Mark. It's going pretty smoothly, right?
It's a lot more interaction with the audience, which I like.
Really? Are there comments? Do I have to look at comments?
Yeah, we get a lot of comments and a lot of questions, but I usually feed those to you one way or another. We'll use them, like on an email show. Yeah.
In fact, just to be clear, Mark knows that I have a very thin skin. So if you say something mean, I'm not even going to see it. Unless he thinks it's so funny, he makes me read it.
Yeah. Anything negative is like, don't even waste your time. She's never going to see it.
Never going to see it. Never going to see it. I mean, unless you just think I've made a mistake, then I will see it. If I have to correct a mistake, I'm always happy to correct a mistake. I don't know everything. So, but if it's just like nasty, like, oh, I didn't like what you were wearing on the air yesterday, I don't want to hear about that. I have a mother who does that. I'm fine. All right, let's talk to Rachel. She joins us from the Garden State, New Jersey. And Rachel, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, both Mark and Jill.
Of course. What can we do for you?
Well, I was looking to get your guidance and get your take on my numbers to see if in 5 to 6 years I could potentially have my off ramp from my corporate job and, do something with more flexibility, something possibly part-time.
I love an off ramp. I can't even tell you how much I mean, because I'm really in the middle of it myself, but also a lot of my friends don't even have that opportunity. And you have to kind of like you say, like plan in advance to have this off ramp. Mm-hmm. How old are you, Rachel?
I am 41.
Oh, you're really young. So you're not really looking at an off ramp. You're really looking at like, how am I going to do something much more fulfilling, fun, something than what I'm doing now and
correct.
Be able to sustain that, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. So essentially you are the person I wrote my book for. You are essentially the Great Money Reset embodied in one human being. So yes. This is great. So Rachel, are you married? Are you single? You're married.
I'm married. Yep. My husband is 43.
Okay. Does he seek a similar path for himself?
He would love to as well, if possible. Yes.
Okay. Do you guys have kids?
We have one 12-year-old.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's 5, 6 years. I can kind of get that now.
Yeah.
The 12-year-old, are you looking at college stuff for him in advance or not?
Yeah, we've been saving in a 529.
How much is in there?
About 115.
How much do you earn? How much does your husband earn?
So I am at about 150 and he is at about 190.
Oh, okay. So you make a lot of money, but you live in a high cost of living area, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
How much money are you adding to that 529 plan? Are you putting a certain amount away or do you put bonuses away? Like, how does that work?
So we have it on recurring to be 550 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we get bonuses, I'll throw in, extra money.
Do you want Rutgers or do we want private?
No, we were aiming for public.
Okay, public. I
Yep.
love that. How is the cash flow right now? You're making you're making a lot of money. So over 300, almost 350 grand. So how is your cash flow?
It's pretty good, honestly.
Okay. Great. Good. Okay. So let's talk about what you've saved in addition to that 529 plan and tell me about retirement right now. What are you putting away for retirement?
So we are both maxing out our workplace plans, our Roth option.
Okay. Great. How much money have you saved so far?
So in traditional 401k and IRAs, we have 655 combined.
Okay. Great.
In Roth, we have 555.
Mm,
And
okay.
then in brokerage, we have 330.
That's great. Fantastic. Congratulations. You guys live in your own home or are you renting?
We own.
And how much is your house worth?
About 800.
And do you have a mortgage that's outstanding still?
Yes, 250 at 2.875.
Oh,
So
God.
Mark, don't kill me.
I know. Poor Mark. It's terrible every time you say that.
Mm-hmm.
How about parents, by the way? You have parents who are alive that you might have to take care of?
Potentially my mom, but she's pretty self-sufficient right now. But in the future, there may be a need for her, to move in with us or just for me to be more accessible to take her to appointments and things.
Understood. So when you look at your current spending, and I know that you got the kids, so there's always kids stuff, but about how much are you spending every year? Or
I
month?
would say about 9 to 10 a month.
Will either of you be entitled to a pension?
No,
Okay.
I know.
That's okay. Did you hear that? Okay. So let's pretend it's 5 years from now or 6 years from now. And kids in college. So ostensibly, you keep clicking away at the mortgage. When you think about an off ramp, what do you think you could earn?
I'm not sure because I haven't thought too much into this. I haven't let myself get to that point where I could think about it. But if we can say something like 50,000 a year, just, I don't want to put too much pressure. Like if it's a real dream of mine, I don't want to put too much pressure.
Right. Oh my God, it's a dream. You must make
Yeah.
100 grand. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to be mean to your husband who's not joining us, but is it more important, do you think, for you to be able to do this? Like if we said, obviously if your husband's still working and you're making 50 grand a year, no sweat. You're done. It's easy. You can do it. But if you're both doing that, then that's very different. So I need to hear from you if that's, do you think it's really you and that both of you would consider doing this, or do you really think it's just you?
I would say it's probably more likely to just be me. But if we can get to a point where we can cover our expenses with, both taking a reduction in salary and combining, then that would be the ideal situation.
Okay. That seems fair to me. Look, you are so young. And if you look at, and you project ahead, right? And we said, all right, you've done a really good job saving. But if you were to project, we would only be saving those chunks and chunks and chunks of money right now while you're making a lot of money, right? Then we would almost assume that in 5 or 6 years, there's no more money going into many of these accounts for both of you, right? Let's just pretend it's both of you. Now, Mark, if you look at that as a scenario and you say, well, I've got let's say $1.5 million that they've saved already. And They'll keep saving for 5 more years. So that's true. That's going to be great. But then kind of the spigot turns off. Mark, do you think that base that they have saved in 5 to 6 years could sustain them in the future? In other words, they won't put a lot. Maybe you'd put in whatever the match is wherever you're working with your 50 or 100 grand combined, but maybe you wouldn't do more than that. Is it possible that Rachel and her husband can find that off ramp? What do you think, Mark?
I think it's doable because they're 1.5 that they have right now. They're going to keep socking away money for the next, 5 years or so. That's going to be over $2 million, maybe 2.5. And then if they never contribute another dime to that pot of money for the next, 15 years or so, that's going to grow. It's going to be probably $5 million by the time that rolls around. I think they're probably in pretty good shape.
I think that it has a lot to do with what your comfort level is, because obviously the 10 grand a month you need now is going to be subject to inflation, right? So, just the way Mark says, like all of your assets are going to grow, so too will those expenses, right? So if we say today's 10 grand is, 15 grand in the future, or 20 grand in the future, would that be enough that you have? I think it seems to me, it's not a slam dunk, I promise, I know this, gang, but it seems to me you're really on the right track. I would start looking and planning and at least considering what that other off-ramp would be. Just by thinking about it and looking at it, maybe we could start modeling it a little bit differently. And we say, for example, maybe we say, okay, Rachel, in 5 years, you're going to do your off ramp. And then maybe your husband's like, okay, I'm going to do it, but not in 5 years. Maybe I'll do it in 8 years. And maybe that works. I think that there are a lot of ways to make this happen with a little more fluff, I guess. That's what I would say. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, no, that seems totally reasonable. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right path and had some potential of reality.
Oh, totally. It absolutely does. And, if you think about like where we are today, right? And you say like, you are in really good shape. Like, so flat out, you're in great shape. Okay. Whether things change in 5 or 6 years or you feel differently, it can also be your emotional ability to do this. So I want to be clear about that. The most important thing would be that one of you has to have something where you're getting health insurance. Because that will really eat into some of your ability to do it. Okay.
Yep.
Have you guys done your estate planning yet?
Yes.
Great. Yep. And what about life insurance? You have that in place?
Yes. We have $1 million on each of us.
Okay. Are you miserable?
I'm not miserable. It's just, the corporate life is just kind of wearing on me a little bit. And the commute.
Do you work remotely?
Just a couple days a week, but then I have an hour commute each way, 3 days.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No way.
Each way.
My God. That's horrendous.
So it's getting old, like real quick.
Oh my God. I would say so. I don't understand these employers. Like it's so, do you feel like you need to be in the office for real?
No, honestly, I don't.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I just think that you're a grown up. You've been doing it for a while. I don't know. I don't understand these people. I really don't. I really don't understand this because you're going to keep people longer. Look, Rachel and her husband, these great employees, you're going to basically let somebody like that go because you are demanding they be in the office every day. It's so stupid. God. Thank you so much for getting in touch with us, Rachel. I think it's a great idea. And also, if you want to spend a few bucks while you're making money, do get my book, The Great Money Reset, because it does talk a lot about this. Because there are going to be other non-financial things that come up, and you might want to consider those as well. So check that out. Okay. Now, Mark, anything else to say before I essentially make you leave?
Au revoir.
Au revoir. If you have a question for me or Mark, or if you have a suggestion for Jill's training playlist, get in touch with us. Go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note. And of course, don't forget to click the button, check that box if you want to come on the air live. And everything else lives there. Everything is on our website, so check it out. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Mark Delarcio is my co-host, the executive producer. He's also the king of all things web. We drop our episodes on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. And if you wouldn't mind, you could leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. But remember, try to make it nice, because otherwise, you can leave anything you feel like. It makes us better. Put your hands metaphorically on someone's back. Someone needs a hug. Someone needs a little pump up, okay? Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, gang. We'll talk to you next weekend.